And here we are printing both the details. So what is that? So parameters. So the parameters comes from TypeScript dot parameters. And in the next line, functions, and the functions will come from TypeScript dot functions. It comes from TypeScript dot functions. Now you can see that here. You can see that when I compile and run this, you can see it is working fine. So that means multiple inheritance type mechanism is supported. Is supported only in implementations, not in extensibility. So multiple inheritance type implementation is supported in classes. So it is not supported in extensibility, right? A single TypeScript class can implement multiple contracts, right? So multiple inheritance is not supported in extensibility of classes, but supported if for implementation of classes. So generally a developer should have a good clarity about these two things, extensibility and implementation. Extensibility is different, implementation is different. And in implementation means you are not extending the code. Implementation means you are just using it as a rule reference. Remember, here one more logical technique is there. Observe carefully. This is where a lot of questions are asked at experience level. So when you are showing experience, then they can go very in-depth about the concept to ask you about these concepts to make sure that you are not faking your experience, right? If you are not faking your experience, usually you should know all these differences, means as a developer. Because sometimes when people try to fake their experience, and to just understand whether you are faking your experience or not, interviewer have some questions which only an architect in real world can understand and he can answer. Others can just know the language, but they don't know the internal architecture, because many people even don't know the difference between extensibility and implementation, right? And observe carefully here. One point is, suppose, carefully see the concept here. So I am using a class version 1. Version 1 is a class. In this class, we have public. So parameters, and it is a string type parameters. And here it is empty, nothing is defined inside it. We have class version 2, and this is public functions, and that is also string type. So just declaration it is added. And now I am using class TypeScript. It is implementing version 1, version 2. It is implementing version 1 and version 2. And here we are defining public parameters, and it is a string type is equal to rest parameters. And another one is public, so functions, and it is a string type is equal to anonymous functions. And have you seen it is supporting This is Typescript is a class which is supporting, it implements version 1, version 2. It is a multiple inheritance type and they are classes only. And if anybody showed you this code and asked you a question like you said multiple inheritance for classes is not supported. Now tell me about this, why it is supporting. Do you have an answer? Can you tell me what is happening here? If anyone says multiple inheritance is not supported for classes, I will show him this code and I will ask him, then can you tell me this is working? And what you said that multiple inheritance not supported for classes, and I am using multiple inheritance here. Can you tell me why it is supporting? Any one of you? Any one of you have an answer for this? It is implementation. What does that means? What does that means? What does that means? It is implementation only. What does that means? What does this means? Yes, you are implementing. So what does implementing means? So functionality means. That means actually you are missing the key point here. The point is here, the main important point is, I hope everyone understood this question, right? Everyone understood this question. First of all, everyone understood my question, huh? What I asked here? Why extensibility is not supported in multiple hierarchy and why implementation is supported in multiple hierarchy. Yeah, actually, the key point here is you need to understand that implementation is nothing but you are here using the classes not to extend them. You are using the classes as a rule reference. That means the classes are used by another class for a rule reference of contract. Here also they are working as contracts. Here also they are working as contracts. That means you are using the classes in implementation means you are using them in a rule reference. You are using them as rules. That means these classes are used as contracts. These classes are used as contracts. And through the contracts, you are implementing them. You are implementing. That means you are not extending the code. You are just implementing the contracts. A class is used like a contract in this situation. A class is used like a contract in this situation. If a class is used like a contract, that means you are not extending it. You are not extending it. You are using it as just a reference for creating a component. That means in this situation, the classes are used as a reference for creating a component. They are not used for extending the components. We are not extending from existing components. We are using them